And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We've got a phenomenal show for you today. So you know what? We might as well just get right to it. First off, I want you to know that at 3:01 p.m. Pacific time, it's currently, guess what? It's 80 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It was about 82 a little bit ago, and it's on its way down to 56 degrees. I told you that the summer was over, but it's still about 25 degrees cooler than it was last week, so that's really a good thing. We're going to give you the weather for all around the world, our listening global broadcast. I don't know why I'm tongue-tied. It's kind of dumb. Anyway, I want you to know that we're going to be doing the same thing that we do every day. Of course, the information is different. We're going to talk about what's in the news, new legislation, the IRS loses. We'll be continuing our segment, the tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey, and the rest of the story. Today's story is Excuses. You're not going to want to miss it. It's actually a good story. They all are, as better for all that matter. But you know what? Let's talk about news. There are 10 things. We've abbreviated them so we can talk about those 10 things, and then we'll do as many of them in depth as we can right after we get done with the abbreviation. These are the 10 things that you need to know for Wednesday. Well, you know what? I didn't tell you. You know who's going to be, I'm going to be talking about the biggest tax mistakes that seniors are making today. And then I'll also be answering your emails today. That's something that's unique to Wednesdays for us. I get to do a commentary, and then I also get to answer your emails. And then a little bit later, Joel Salzman, Dr. Wireless, will be here and he'll be talking about new wireless technology, news and deals and all those kinds of things. And now, let's talk about the 10 things that you need to know for Wednesday and that are in the news, your daily look at late-breaking news, upcoming events, and the stories that will be talked about all day today and probably all day tomorrow, too. And right off the top, talking about tomorrow, our own Sean Lefebvre is going to be here. He'll be co-hosting the entire 2-hour show with me tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun. So if you get a chance, you make sure you tune in. Otherwise, listen to our archive. It's going to be great. Well, here on the top of the news, how Clinton and Trump are trying to close the deal. As the race heads to the finish line, both candidates aggressively cast the other as a catastrophic choice for the White House. And FBI chief's decision on emails fits the pattern. It's not the first time James Comey has found himself in the spotlight for taking a stand on what the 6-foot, 8-inch lawyer saw as the moral high ground. And why securing Mosul could take months. In wrestling the city from Islamic State militants, Iraqi and other troops will need to fend off booby traps and ambushes in difficult house-to-house fighting. And guess what? The Cubs force Game 7. If you didn't see last night's game, boy, did you miss a game. And tonight, my show goes off the air at 5 o'clock, and at 5:01, I'm going to be watching the World Series. You better believe it. And Jake Arrieta pitches into the 6th inning as Chicago turns Cleveland back 9-3 and knots the World Series at 3 games apiece. That means it's a whole brand new ball game, winner take all. That's right today on Game 7. And Bill Cosby awaits the crucial court ruling. The entertainer's lawyers press a judge to keep the comedian's damaging deposition in a decade-old lawsuit out of his sexual assault trial. Then, a school bus in a deadly pre-dawn crash is on the way to the first stop. Both drivers are among 6 people killed in Baltimore when the school bus with no students aboard smashes into a commuter bus. And authorities assess the damage to the Alabama pipeline. A deadly explosion, the pipeline's second accident and shutdown in 2 months, raises fears of another round of gas shortages and price increases. Well, we talked about this yesterday. Now they're talking about the truth. The price of gas is going to go up. And the Pope rules out women's ordination. The pontiff says the last word on the question was delivered by St. Paul II, or John Paul II, and that no changes are foreseen forever to put women into the priesthood. And my message for sisters is that we aren't weak. A Pakistani gang rape victim walks the fashion runway seeking to serve as a symbol of hope to other Pakistani women. And then finally, news networks thriving amid the presidential race. Boy, you can say that again. It's all about ratings. It's all about money. Makes you wonder if it's not the media that's actually picking the president. Well, MSNBC reaches its biggest weekday primetime audience in the network's 20-year history in October. The rivals, CNN and Fox News Channel, had strong months as well. You know what? Tell me that it wasn't profitable. Tell me it wasn't all about money. That's what I want to have you tell me. Well, you know what? Let's talk about the news. Let's talk. Let's get into a little bit more in-depth stuff, so we can kind of explain what the headlines are all about. Trump is campaigning in stretch, just like it all depends, just on Florida. With the turbulent White House race scrambled in new directions, Donald Trump is campaigning like it all hinges on one all too familiar swing state, and that would be Florida. There was late action today in such unlikely areas as Arizona, Michigan, and North Carolina, for that matter, where President Barack Obama tried to energize black support for Hillary Clinton, but Trump marched ahead in his third multi-day visit to the Sunshine State in recent weeks. The Republican nominee lashed out at Crooked Hillary in Miami, predicting that a Clinton victory would trigger an unprecedented and protracted constitutional crisis as federal investigators probed the former Secretary of State's email practices. Conceding nothing in the state, Clinton has also been a frequent visitor. She posed for pictures and shook hands during a surprise visit to the South Florida Caribbean American neighborhood Wednesday morning. Both sides agree that the New York businessman has virtually no chance to win the presidency without Florida's trove of 29 electoral votes. Clinton has been ahead there in the opinion polls, but Democrats acknowledge that the FBI's renewed attention to her has helped rally reluctant Republicans behind their nominee. That's given Trump an enthusiasm boost in Florida and across the Midwestern battlegrounds, long considered a reliably blue territory. But you know what? There's a saying going around now that you hadn't heard very many times, and that is Republicans it's time for them to come home. Yeah, they mean to the party. Let's see what happens. Obama worries the black vote is not solid enough for Clinton. President Barack Obama twice generated a historic wave of African-American support on his way to the White House, but worries now the black vote is not as solid as it needs to be for Hillary Clinton. Clinton's travel schedules are taking them to swing state metro areas with significant black populations, and the two officials are fixtures in black audience media. Their message is consistent. Clinton will fight for the black community, while Republican Donald Trump would turn back the clock for voters that helped propel Obama to comfortable national victories. I need somebody to understand that everything we've done is dependent on me being able to pass the baton to somebody who believes in the same things that I believe in, Obama told nationally syndicated radio host Tom Joyner in an interview broadcast just today. Boy, it's getting, I said it was getting nasty, and it's getting nastier, no question about it. But you know what? The police say that a suspect in the killing of two Iowa officers is in custody. A white man with a history of racial provocations and confrontations with police ambushed and fatally shot two white Des Moines area officers in separate attacks today as they sat in their patrol cars, authorities said. Police took 46-year-old Scott Michael Green into custody hours after the killings and less than 3 weeks after he argued with officers who removed him from a high school football game where he had unfurled a Confederate flag near black spectators. Wow, can you imagine? Anyway, we're going to talk about more news when we get done. We got this guy caught. We'll talk about Iraqi forces consolidate their gains in eastern Mosul. We'll do that right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking news, and Iraqi forces consolidate their gains in eastern Mosul. Iraqi forces, special forces mopping up in territory seized by eastern Mosul, killed 8 Islamic State militants today as residents fled to safety from nearby areas, and men shaved their beards that they were forced to grow while the extremists were in control. In the easternmost district of Gagliali, shops were boarded up, with some reduced to burned out shells. Families stood in their doorways, some holding white flags, while children flashed the V for victory sign to the passing troops. A few women ululated in celebration as columns of vehicles passed. You know, consolidating the gains in the areas lays the groundwork for the troops' next stage of operation, entering Mosul's most urban central neighborhoods, a densely built-up zone likely to contain booby traps and roadside bombs. That could mean house-to-house combat and might take weeks, if not months, with the city center about 6 miles away. The area's deputy emir was sprawled on a central street, shot and killed by soldiers when he tried to approach them in an explosive Latin vest. Residents watched as the body, clad in a military uniform, was dragged away past an Abrams tank. Yeah, you know what? They're not going to go away peacefully. They're not going to go away easily either. That's for doggone sure. Well, you know what? Let's talk about a pipeline. The company could face fines. Protesters peppered sprayed. Here's the deal. Officers in a riot gear clashed again today with protesters near the Dakota Access Pipeline, hitting several dozen with pepper spray as they waded through waist-deep water in an attempt to reach property owned by the pipeline's developer. The confrontation came just hours after North Dakota regulations discussed the possibility of the pipeline company could be fined for not immediately reporting that American Indian artifacts had been found along the route. Public Service Commission Chairwoman Julie Federchak said that she was extremely disappointed that Texas-based Energy Transfer Partners waited 10 days before reporting last month's discovery of stone cairns and other artifacts. The panel could decide to levy fines of up to $200,000, Federchak said, though she said such a high amount would be unlikely. Well, I don't know why. You know, after an inspection, company consultants decided to divert the construction by about 50 feet, even though they determined that there was a low likelihood any additional artifacts were buried nearby. The State Historic Preservation Office did concur with the company's plan on how to proceed after the artifacts were found. Now, how could they determine it was unlikely more would be found? They found those, didn't they? This is ridiculous stuff that goes on. They must think we're all nuts. Of course they think we're all nuts. They're convinced, right? Look who we've got running for president. Well, the FBI probing vote Trump tag, fire at a black church. The FBI has opened a civil rights investigation of a fire that heavily damaged a black church in Mississippi where someone wrote, "Vote Trump" in silver spray paint. The Tuesday night fire heavily damaged the 200-member Hopewell Missionary Baptist Church in Greenville, Mississippi, where Mayor Eric Simmons today called it a heinous, hateful, cowardly act. We consider it a hate crime because of the political message, which we believe was intended to interfere with the worship and immediate voters. Simmons said, "This act is a direct assault on people's right to freely worship." Yeah, I guess. The mayor said the FBI and the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation are assisting the investigation in the Mississippi River City, where about 78% of the 32,100 residents are African American. So it kind of gives it a basis for the hate crime, doesn't it? Sure it does. Of course it does. Doesn't it seem like when you hear the news today, that's all you hear about is hate crimes in America? Well, the cops say that a mom texted a video of a dead toddler during a fight with their dad. A woman jailed on charges that she killed her toddler's son sent a video of the boy's apparently lifeless body to his father in a jealous, vengeful rage during a text message argument that lasted more than 2 hours, police said in a criminal complaint. Christian Clark, 21 years old, of McKeesport, was jailed without bond after being arraigned on charges of criminal homicide in the death of a 17-month-old Andre Price III, an attempted homicide of his 2-year-old sister, Angel. Clark doesn't have an attorney listed in online court records. Allegheny County homicide detectives say Clark was arguing with the boy's father, Andre Price Jr., when she started sending increasingly violent text messages beginning about 9 p.m. on Tuesday. The complaint indicated Clark was upset at having having to clean up toilet water the children spilled, but mostly because Price had left for work earlier in the day, and Clark believed that he planned to have sex with another woman. Man, it just gets worse and worse. People, it's not that, they just don't think. That's all. They just don't think. Well, let me leave you with this. Some immune-boosting cancer drugs may pose rare heart risks. Doctors have found a disturbing downside to some powerful new drugs that harness the immune system to fight cancer. In rare cases, they may cause potentially fatal heart damage, especially when used together. The problem is no one has this on their radar, so patients are not routinely checked for it, said Dr. David Moslehi, head of the Vanderbilt University Clinic specializing in heart risks from cancer therapies. He led a report today in the New England Journal of Medicine describing 2 patients who died of heart trouble 2 weeks after receiving their first doses of 2 Bristol-Myers Squibb drugs, Opdivo and Yervoy, for the deadly skin cancer melanoma. Oh my goodness. 2 similar drugs also on the market, and the study leaders believe they might pose heart risks as well. Well, enough of that great news. Let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to make you smile. We're going to set the hair up on the back of your necks and just then chills up and down your spine. We're going to talk about the IRS loses. In the first case up, earned income credit is available even if it's for your nieces. I'll tell you all about it right after these brief messages. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Oh yeah, I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:24 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 81 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way to 57 degrees, but if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in New York City, well, it's 68 degrees and it's clear. If you're in Chicago, Illinois, it's 64 degrees and they got thunder, lightning, and storms going on. It's probably, hopefully, is getting ready for a celebration after tonight's World Series in Cleveland. And just in case you're wondering, in Cleveland, Ohio, right now, it's 72 degrees and clear. So it's great baseball weather. It's a good thing they're in Cleveland and not in Chicago, I'm guessing. And that would be kind of tough stuff to play. You know what? Probably get rained out for that matter. Well, let's talk about the IRS loses. The first case is earned income credit is available for nieces. Here's the case. Matthew Gilmore was 19 years old and lived in an apartment with his his mother, 3 sisters, and 2 children of one of his sisters. He had a job, helped support the family, and cared for his nieces, for whom he claimed an earned income credit, but the IRS denied the credit. He went to tax court to get some justice, and this is what the judge said. To qualify Matthew for the earned income credit, the children must meet ages, residence, and relationship tests. Now, as minors, they lived with him. They met the first 2. As nieces, they met the relationship test if he cared for them as his own children. So here's the ruling. As the oldest male of the family who both cared for and worked to support them, and he did so, and thus he gets the credit. And just so you don't think that's some lighthearted thing, that's a little over $5,000 in this particular case. So, you know what? I can guess that helped a great deal. Here's another case the IRS lost. Payments to teachers who give up tenure are not subject to employment tax. Get this. Under an earlier retirement program, teachers in school district gave up their tenure rights to employment in exchange for cash payments. The IRS said that the payments were earned through employment and thus subject to employment tax, which had the district withhold. Now, the teachers sued for refunds. They went to court. This is what the judge said. When an at-will employee who can be dismissed at any time is given the severance bonus, it's a taxable wages. But here, payment was made in exchange for the surrender of valuable legal rights, not in exchange for labor. So the payments weren't wages, and refunds are granted. Not only were they granted, they were granted with interest, by the way. And the IRS had to pay the legal fees to get that determination. And here's another case the IRS lost. They were told of a new address. Seems, innocent enough, right? But listen to this. Thomas Hunter moved and filed an IRS power of attorney, or POA form, that told the IRS to send copies of all of his tax notices to his accountant and gave his new address. But the IRS sent a deficiency notice only to his old address. Now, Hunter said he never received it, so it was invalid. The IRS answered that Hunter had never filed an IRS Form 8822, change of address form, and general correspondence sent to it containing a new address does not serve as one. So the notice was valid. Well, he went to court. This is what the judge said. A POA, or a power of attorney, is not general correspondence and has been held many times by the courts to notify the IRS of a change of address, often at the IRS's own insistence. So the notice is invalid. Now, you know what? The IRS just keeps trying to get into your pocket. You'd think that it was their money, for Pete's sake. They forget who they work for. Well, you know what? We're at that area we call inside the IRS. It's a little bit like the Twilight Zone. Yeah, well, you know what? These are not actual tax court cases, but these are things that the IRS is doing or saying or positions that they've taken that if you know about them, you can kind of make plans for your own defense and your own situation. And sometimes just knowing what the IRS is doing, right? It's like being a fly on the wall. In this case, the IRS can access your credit report and find out about financial transactions that you might not otherwise want to share with it. So here's the deal. Suppose, for example, that your credit report reflects that you borrowed money to purchase an expensive car or a boat, and suppose the IRS finds this out. Well, you know what? Its next step could easily be to contact your bank and obtain a copy of your credit application. If it does that, you've got a problem. If the credit application reflects assets or sources of income that you're trying to hide from the IRS, well, it just found out where they're at. And what if you overstated your assets on the credit application? Well, while this is not a tax crime, it is a crime under federal law. You cannot falsify federal documents. You're in trouble either way. You know what that means? Yeah, it means weekends away in one of those federal resorts. That's what it means, probably more than weekends. How about this? What happens to people who are sentenced to jail for a tax crime? In most cases, they're what they call designated. That's a Bureau of Prisons lingo, meaning where an individual is going to be sent. And usually they're designated to a camp. Now, a camp is a federal prison facility, but there are no gun towers or barbed wire or jail cells. The other inmates in the camp are likely to be white-collar criminals and low-level drug dealers. It's a dormitory-style setting with relatively small risk for physical assault. Of course, the experience is really boring and the time drags on slowly. And here's the deal. You're still not free. So, it's not where you want to be, guaranteed. Now, don't go away, because when we come back, we've got some really, really interesting stuff for you. I'm going to be talking to you about the biggest tax mistakes that seniors are making today. You don't want to miss out on this. This is important stuff, guys. So I'll tell you all about it right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:34 p.m. Pacific time. It's still 81 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California, and that's on its way down to 57. And, it's a big difference, but it's quite a break from where it was a week or so ago. But if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in Paris, France, you're lucky for one thing, and it's 41 degrees and it is clear. And if you're in Rome, Italy, it's 63 degrees with some scattered clouds. But right now, excuse me, I want to talk to you about the biggest mistakes, or biggest tax mistakes anyway, that seniors are making today. Around estate plan, a sound estate plan can help to ensure that your assets are going to be preserved and distributed as per your wishes with very little or no friction at all. Now, what's there? There will be more assets for you to enjoy and to pass on to your loved ones. If you avoid these common errors anyway, here's a mistake though. Expecting tax shelter from revocable trusts. Many seniors have created revocable trusts to hold their assets. These trusts can be rescinded or changed after they're created. There are some advantages. You can remain in control of the assets that you transfer to a revocable trust and enjoy the income in case you're in capacity. Control of those assets can be passed without commotion to a successor trustee that you've already named. Now, your family won't have to ask a court to appoint a guardian, and at your death, trust assets won't go through probate, saving your heirs time and probably some substantial money as well. There is a tax trap, though. There is no tax shelter in a revocable trust. You owe tax on trust income. The trust assets will be included in your taxable estate. So there's a strategy for this. If tax shelter is the goal, transfer assets to an irrevocable trust. Such a trust files its own income tax return, so income shifting to a taxpayer, the trust that can recognize some income in a low bracket might be possible. Well, if assets in the irrevocable trust are truly out of your reach, they won't be in your taxable estate. But you do need to be careful here. Assets transferred to an irrevocable trust generally are truly relinquished by the grantor. However, if you name a relative as trust beneficiary, those assets may be distributed to family members. There's a mistake going on, though, triggering gift tax with transfers to trusts. To enjoy the benefits of an irrevocable trust, you must transfer assets into the trust. Otherwise, it's no good. The tax trap here is such asset transfers may trigger a gift tax. You might have to file gift tax returns and pay gift tax at rates of up to 45% of the amount transferred. Transfers to trusts usually don't qualify for the $13,000 per recipient per year gift exclusion. So there's another strategy you can use. Gifts to trusts can qualify for this exclusion if you follow the so-called, what they call crummy protection, named after a landmark court case won by the taxpayer. Here's how it works. You make gifts to a trust, then give the trust beneficiaries the chance to withdraw the transferred assets within a time frame that you actually set. So let me give you an example of that. Let's just say Paul Jones creates an irrevocable trust and names its 3 daughters as trust beneficiaries, Paul's wife, Kate, and the trustee. Now, Paul transfers $36,000 into the trust. Kate sends a notice to each trust beneficiary saying that she, the beneficiary, has 30 days to withdraw up to $13,000. The result? The beneficiary's opportunity to access the assets qualifies these gifts for the annual exclusion. Now, after 30 days, if no withdrawals have been made, the $36,000 can stay in the trust or be used by the trustee to pay the insurance premiums with no gift tax consequences. Now, this allows the insurance policy to be held in the trust so that the death benefit will avoid estate tax. That's because the beneficiary is going to be the trust. Now, doubling up. Under the crummy procedure, if Paul's wife joins in making the gift, up to $72,000 worth of assets, that's twice $36,000, can be moved into the trust this year tax-free. What happens if this procedure is not followed? Well, gift tax returns must be filed, and the amounts given away will be subtracted from the giver's estate tax exemption. After such reported gifts reach $1 million per giver, additional gifts will be taxed. Now, there's another mistake, not naming an IRA beneficiary. Whether or not seniors have trusts, they often have IRAs and other retirement accounts with beneficiaries. Be sure to name primary and contingent beneficiaries for these accounts. And there's a tax trap here too. If you don't name an IRA beneficiary, whoever inherits the account will have to withdraw more money sooner and pay more income tax. The same is true if you name your estate as the beneficiary. So the strategy here, name one or more individuals as beneficiaries on the form provided by the custodian of the custom form for you, that you provide. Now, if you are uncertain about your beneficiary's ability to handle a large inheritance, you can name a trust as the beneficiary. Your desired heirs can be the trust beneficiaries with a trustee that you've named in charge of distributing the assets. That's going to do that protection there. And the result is, with either a trust or individual beneficiaries, the IRA that you bequeath can provide many years of extended tax-deferred accumulation. The mistake here, though, is buying long-term care insurance for a non-dependent. Today, most long-term care insurance policies are tax qualified. That means they offer two tax advantages. Premiums may be deductible. There are limits to this federal deduction depending on the age of the insured individual. Now, if you're 40 or under, it's $310, the deduction. If you're 41 to 50, it's $580. 51 to 60 is $1,150. 61 to 70 is $3,080, big jump. And 71 plus, $3,850. Now, the long-term care insurance premium payments are considered medical expenses, so they'll benefit taxpayers who itemize deductions and whose total medical expenses exceed 13% of their adjusted gross income, or AGI. Now, benefits received usually won't be taxed. Now, the insurance benefits of up to $270 per day from tax-qualified policy will not be taxed, a number that will increase with inflation as the years go by. There is a tax trap, though. If you purchase a long care trust policy on behalf of someone else, such as a partner who's not a dependent, you are not usually entitled to the medical expense deduction for those outlays. So the strategy here would be, if you're buying an LTC insurance for a parent, see if you can qualify to take your parent as a dependent. Now, generally, that means paying over half of that parent's support during the year. Now, your parent does not have to live with you. If your parent won't qualify, it may be better to give him or her the money to pay the premiums. Then your parent might get the tax deduction themselves. Also, keep in mind that if you're worried about Social Security and the rest of this stuff, that support figure is based on what they spend for their own life support or their living expenses. And if they're not spending that money on groceries and other things, they're just playing with it, then you don't have to count it for that reason. Now, there's a loophole. If you have self-employment income, you can deduct that insurance premiums for yourself, a spouse, or a dependent, just as you can deduct health insurance premiums from gross income rather than as an itemized deduction. Now, total deductions for health and LTC insurance cannot exceed your self-employment income. Owners of a subchapter S corporation and limited liability companies can also take these deductions, and in all cases, deductions are subject to the age-based limits listed that I've already given to you. So, listen, if you've listened to everything I just said, you are now absolutely aware of the fact that this is not something that you want to try to accomplish on your own. You always, always, always want to use a licensed professional. You know, they're always going to save you more money than they cost you. And you know what? One of the conditions of their licensing is that they carry what they call errors and omissions insurance, which means that if they make a mistake, they pay the piper and not you. Now, doesn't that make sense? Gives you peace of mind and lets you sleep at night. That's exactly what happens. Now, don't go away. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, I'm going to answer some of the email questions that you've asked me. And the first one comes from Nathaniel Dale from Grisham, Oregon. He's asking about the tax treatment of gold, and I'm going to answer his question, and you're going to want to hear it right after these brief messages. Don't go away. We've got a lot of good stuff for you.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:47 p.m. Pacific time. It's still 81 degrees out there in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. And if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're listening to us in London, England, it's getting cold. 36 degrees and mostly cloudy. And in Vienna, Austria, it's 45 degrees and we've got some scattered clouds there. So, you know what? It's getting cold all around the world, I guess. But right now, you know what? It's time for me to answer some of your emails. And my first email today comes from Nathaniel Dale from Grisham, Oregon. He's asking about the tax treatment of gold. And he says, you know, I want to buy gold as a safe investment, but I've been told that it doesn't qualify for capital gains treatment. Is this true? Well, Nathaniel, gold bullion is a collectible upon which the top long-term capital gains tax rate is 28% instead of the normal normal 15%. Now, the same tax rate applies to gold coins and exchange-traded funds, a form of tradable securities that track the price of gold. Now, you can still profit from gold at the 15% long-term capital gain tax rate by investing in gold mining companies or in mutual funds that specialize in holding the stock of such companies. Capital gains realized on their shares is taxed just like any other corporate shares, but their shares prices are highly correlated with the price of gold. So that probably is going to solve your problem and make this whole thing a little easier for you. Hopefully that helps you. Next email comes from Royce Diaz from Cortland, New York, asking about gifts of tuition, and writes, my grandson is about to go to college where the annual tuition is well over $12,000. If I pay it for him, will I be making a taxable gift? Here's the thing, Royce. The answer to your question is no, not if you make the payment directly to the college. Now, generally, gifts exceeding the annual gift tax amount of $13,000 per year per giver to any recipient must be reported by the giver on a gift tax return. But payments made on behalf of an individual directly to an educational or medical institution are not deemed to be gifts to the individual and are tax exempt. In fact, you can make them in any amount on behalf of an individual and still give that individual another $13,000 tax-free. So write the tuition check directly to the college instead of giving the money to your grandchild. I think it probably makes more sense all the way around anyway. Well, next email comes from Quincy Griffone from Colts Neck, New Jersey, asking about posthumous income and says, let's see here. Here we go. My mother died, and I prepared a joint return for that year that her husband signed for their taxes. Then, for the next year, I received a 1099 for my mother, reporting several $1,000s of income to her. Her husband filed a single return for that year. So, how do I report this? That's actually a great question, Quincy. And here's the deal: if the income was from a bank or an investment account that her husband or another person inherited through the joint ownership or an account beneficiary designation, that person owes the tax on it. Now, if the income was paid to your mother's estate and then distributed by will or state law, then you need to consult the executor or administrator of the estate, ask the issuer of the 1099 to, in the future, send 1099s that name the proper recipient. And that's the way you get around that and how you handle it. It's not a big deal. You're not going to get you in any kind of trouble here. Well, my last email comes from Brandon Henry from Oceanside, California, asking about inherited property basis. In writes, let's see here, I inherited property. Inherited property gets stepped up basis equal to the market value when it has appreciated in value. But if it has fallen in value, does it get stepped down basis? Well, you know what, Brandon? The answer to your question is yes. When the owner of a property dies, the property basis, its cost for tax purposes, from which gain or loss on its sales determined, becomes its market value at the owner's death. Now, if the property has appreciated in value, the basis has stepped up to its appreciated market value, and the taxable gain on appreciation to that date is eliminated. But if the property has fallen in value, the basis is correspondingly reduced and deductible capital loss is going to be eliminated. So the strategy here is to hold appreciated property until death to bequeath it to heirs, sell lost property before death to get a deductible capital loss. So that's the way you're going to want to handle all of those kinds of things. Well, you know what? I want to remind you that Robert Cardoza Live has its own app, and it's available absolutely free of charge. Just go to your app store, whether it be Apple or Android or Windows, whatever it might be, whatever your app store is, and search Robert Cardoza Live. The app will pop up. You can download it. It's absolutely free. It's the best way to listen to our shows. If we're broadcasting live like we are right now, well, you'll be able to listen to us live. You'll even be able to chat with us live from there. And if you're not able to listen to us live, you can listen to our archives anytime, 24/7 at your convenience. Maybe you're on an airplane, you want to hear the show. It's a good way to make 2 hours go by really, really fast. And we try to give you some really interesting content that goes in there. Just keep in mind that what we really try to accomplish on our show is a variety of things. We try to give you the news, and we try to give you IRS tidbits and things like that, and how to beat them, or at least what's going on with them. We try to generally get people to come in and talk about different issues. If it's Monday, we're talking about food and wine. And we're also talking about conservative politics with our simulcast with John Matthews. If it's Tuesday, we're with Sean Lefebvre and his Geared for Wellness Corner, and we talk about healthcare issues and current events as far as that's concerned. Wednesday, like today, we talk to our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. He's going to be here talking about wireless technology and new developments and discounts, things like that. And then I'm always trying to tell people that there's something new that's going on in the tax. Like today, we talked about the big mistakes that seniors are making tax-wise. We answered your emails. It happens every Wednesday. On Thursday, we're back again with Sean Lefebvre, and Sean is back with the Geared for Wellness. Now, the nice part about this Thursday, tomorrow, Sean's going to be with us as a co-host. He'll be with us for the entire 2 hours here in the studio, so you can bet it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to probably move in a lot of different directions. It won't be as structured as it normally is, but you're going to love it. And then on Friday, we generally have the law with David Garrett, and then we also have another simulcast with John Matthews and Joe Hakos with the Conservative Syndicate, and we do that. Then, you know what? We always talk about the Harvard Business Tip of the Day. That's every day. We also talk about whose birthdays it was for the day. We talk about interesting but useless facts, the secret daily teachings for your life. And we always have a tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. You don't want to miss any of these things. They're really, really interesting. So, you know what? Get that app. Just search Robert Cardoza Live at your app store. It's free, and you don't have to miss any of these things. And you know what? And my email, everything is right there. If you've got questions or want me to address something, put it right there. If you want me to interview somebody, let me know, and I'll put it right there. We'll try our best to get that accomplished for you too. So listen, we're going to have to take a short break. When we come back, hopefully, we'll be with Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:59 p.m. Pacific time. It's still 81 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, if you're dipping your toes into the mighty blue Pacific and you're in Torrance, California, it's 73 degrees and it is clear. And if you're in Wichita, Kansas, it's 79 degrees, mostly cloudy, it's humid, and I feel sorry for you. You're going to want to get the heck out of there. But you know what? Right now, we're going to be talking to a guy that knows more about wireless technology and all the options that are available to you than anybody I know. We're talking about our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. Hey, Joel, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well, Robert. How about yourself?
I am doing great. You know what? Because I'm not a big sports guy, but when it comes to championship games and things like that, I have a tendency to pay attention to root. And my son-in-law was born and raised in Chicago, so he's a big Chicago fan, whether it be the Bears or the Cubs, and he's just all excited about the Cubs. And then this being Game 7 of the World Series, he's just going nuts. I think he's a little bit superstitious. He's been wearing the same doggone shirt for a week now, so I don't know what's going to happen.
Tell him not to change for one more game.
Yeah. So are you a big sports guy?
You know what? I am certain sports. I'm not a baseball fan anymore, but I do watch the World Series. I'm a Clipper fan. Oh. I'm a Miami Dolphin fan. It's been a little painful for the last decade or two, but you do what you got to do.
Oh yeah. Did you see last night's World Series? Man, what a game!
Oh yeah, that was something. Yeah, especially when they go 7, it's pretty hard to beat.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of hard to beat, my guess is, because I generally take up way too much of your airtime, my guess is that you've got an agenda just loaded with new stuff going on.
I got some stuff. I don't really have as much as usual. I mean, I never finish, and today I may finish, so who knows?
Well, iPhone put out another update today. Were you aware of that?
I didn't even notice.
Yeah, they put up a new update, and what they did is they added another layer of security to iPhones and iPads and all those things. It's a secondary code, and so if you have your iPhone or iPad synced to other products that they have, it's now going to ask you for that secondary code to make sure that it is you, as opposed to just the one code that you'd normally put in.
That's good. A lot of these companies I work with, when you log in, they send you, a request for a code. And I think that's, very smart. You have to do that with all the fraud and hacking. And that's going to allow me to segue into what I was going to talk about first. And that's this.
I knew it all the time. I was just prepared to do it.
You're good like that.
All right.
Anyhow, have you heard about this one? Russia is ditching Microsoft because it's too easy of a target.
You're kidding.
No, they're getting rid of all their Microsoft products and servers and service, and they're supporting, talking about a plan to purge Microsoft software from the government, starting with Moscow.
They're going to buy Apple, right?
I don't know who else that leaves. By default.
And once
probably Apple.
Yeah, once they buy Apple, they'll do all the research that they need to do so they can start hacking Apple products the same way they do with Windows products. It's a way for them to be able to study the product, I think.
More than likely.
Well, you know what? Tim Cook said that next year was going to be a brighter year than ever. Hopefully, it's not because Russia is going to be switching their alliances from Windows to Apple.
I figured he was just going to sell a bunch of iPhones in China.
Most likely.
Yeah.
And he saves on the shipping because it's all made there anyway.
There you go. You saw that too. How about this? Department of Justice is suing DirecTV because they conspired against the LA Dodgers.
Oh no, I didn't get that one.
You heard about this one, didn't you?
No.
You didn't hear about that?
No.
Apparently, you know how everybody was complaining about how that Sportsnet channel, Sportsnet LA, was just too expensive. And Time Warner, there was a big, the last year or two has been a big problem for all the Dodgers. I'm not a big Dodger fan, so I could care less. And I have Time Warner, so I had all the games and didn't even watch them. But for those people who are Dodger fans, it's been really tough because if you're not a Time Warner customer, meaning if you're Cox Cable, Charter Cable, or AT&T, you didn't get to see these games. And apparently these four companies essentially gave each other a heads up as to their individual progress in negotiating with Sportsnet. And they did everything to see that none of them were going to sign up. So it's kind of collusion, perhaps.
Yeah. You know what? They had a name. They have a name for that. And I can't think of what it is, but it is when these companies get together, and it's not monopolistic, but they got a name for it, and I think it's restraint of trade. But I don't remember what it is. When all these companies get together to manufacture non-competition.
I guess, AT&T, responded to this, and, they're saying they respect the DOJ's important role in protecting consumers, but in this case, they see the facts differently. They're saying the reason that no other major TV provider chose to carry this content was nobody wanted to force all their customers to pay the inflated prices that Time Warner Cable was demanding for a channel solely devoted to Dodger baseball. So that's what that was all about. And it'll be interesting to see, what becomes of it.
Now, will that take a long time in the courts to come to a fruition?
Everything takes a long time in the courts, especially when it's big companies with brigades of attorneys and appeals on appeals. And I wouldn't hold your breath.
Yeah, you can say that again. You know what? It's amazing all the stuff that goes on. It seems like either I'm paying more attention than I ever did before, or companies are just getting caught with their pants down more than they ever did before these days.
Well, it's both, and companies are just not properly disclosing stuff that they should be disclosing. You heard about what happened with the unlimited data. We talked about AT&T getting busted, for throttling their data. You can't sell an unlimited plan and then make it limited. Yeah. And what they were doing is they were slowing speeds down. Initially, they did it at 5 gigabytes on their unlimited plan, and that quickly people figured that out. And then they came out with this new deal where you had to jump through a few hoops. You had to bundle UVerse or DirecTV just to get AT&T's unlimited plan. And I feel sorry for anybody who did that, because they later found out that AT&T was throttling, I think it was at 17 gigabytes or something. And now they're up to 22. So now what AT&T is doing is they're still advertising unlimited, but they promptly tell you, I've seen it on their commercial TV ads now, that at 22 gigabytes, they reserve the right for network optimization or deprioritization. Bottom line is, if they're going to throttle you if they want to. They're leaving the door open to do that. So their unlimited plan, they got busted, for just giving 22 gigs of 4G before slowing people down to 2G. And you can say, hey, unlimited data is unlimited data. But when your streaming video stops, your voice over IP calling stops, when you can't game, when all you can do is check email and everything slows down and you get that annoying little wheel spinning while everything's buffering, nobody wants to go back to those days.
Yeah.
And that's why, the FTC said, look, you cannot say, unlimited 4G data and then slow people down to 2G without disclosing it. And T-Mobile also got busted for that. And T-Mobile made good. And they're now, T-Mobile announces, and this is for all your users that are big data users. First of all, true 4G unlimited data plans do not exist. You're gonna see a unicorn or find the end of the rainbow before you get a 4G unlimited plan that gives you as much 4G LTE as you can use. It does not exist. So that being said, these carriers can call their plans unlimited all day long, but you're going to hear it right now. Your AT&T unlimited plan is offering you 22 gigabytes of 4G LTE. Your Sprint LTE unlimited plan is 23 gigabytes. Your T-Mobile plan unlimited is 28 gigabytes. And ironically, Verizon, who does not even offer an unlimited data plan, their limited data plans at, say, 25 or 26 or 30 gig are essentially the same as all these unlimited plans by all these other carriers. I mean, if you're going to be throttled at 20, in the 20s or 30 gigabyte of data, you can call it whatever you want. You're going to get slowed down. Verizon's more candid about what they're offering. They're telling you exactly what they're offering. And then there's a lot of little stuff that people don't talk about. And you hear rollover talked about with all the carriers. All the carriers are now offering rollover. Mm-hmm. You know what rollover is?
Yeah, that's when you don't use all your minutes from one side, it goes to the next.
When you don't use all of your minutes 1 month,
it goes to the next month.
It goes to the next month if you're with AT&T or if you're with Sprint or if you're with Verizon. Mm-hmm. If you're with T-Mobile, it's not just 1 month; it's rolling over for 12.
Now, that's a good deal. That's a good deal.
Well, you know what? But you don't hear about that. When AT&T and Sprint say, hey, we got rollover. Yes, they have rollover, but it's not the same. If you've got a 10 gig plan in January and you use 5 gigs, that means the following month you've got 15 gigs.
Right.
But guess what? Come March, that 5 gigabytes, whether you use it or not, is gone. So, you cannot gain data and carry it over month to month to month to month unless you're with T-Mobile.
So let me ask you a scenario. Let me ask you a scenario here. So let's use that as an example. You've got a 10 gigabyte plan. You use 5, and that 5 rolls over to the next month. So you've got 15 gigabytes there. But what if you only used 5 gigabytes that month? Does the 10 that you didn't use roll over to the following month?
Yes, it will, and that is why. You can look at T-Mobile's 5 gigabyte or 6 gigabyte plan. They have a 10 gigabyte plan. And I contend those plans are better than a lot of these unlimited, fully unlimited plans. And I'll tell you why. First of all, with T-Mobile and their binge on, when you're using their 6 gig or 10 gig plan, 99% of the time the video you're watching is not even applied towards your data allocation. Same with audio. You're streaming video for free. You're listening to audio for free. It's hard to use that data. Most of the people on those plans use that data for hotspots. And one of the cool things about those plans is if you did use the 6 or 10 gig, which is very, very unlikely, they're going to throttle you, meaning they're going to slow your speeds down. But if you don't use it, you're going to carry it over every single month. So between the fact that they have the binge on where you're getting the free data and the free texting, the free video streaming, and the free audio, it's very hard to use the data. So I really like those plans. And those plans also give you full hotspot speeds.
So when you talk about full hotspot speeds, so when you I've got a hotspot on my phone, you've got it on your phone. Does that mean that it uses more data speed and stuff than? Let me see if I can say this a different way. Let's say I want to use my iPad, but I don't. But I want to use my own hotspot from my phone. Does that mean that I'm doubling up on my data usage?
Well, that depends on which there's a lot of variables, and this is why I get so angry when I see these carriers comparing. You can't compare rollover, as I just explained why. All rollovers not created equal. It's the same as hotspots. You can't compare that between the carriers because it's in the fine print that nobody reads but the FCC and myself. Mm-hmm. But here's what this means, Robert. Let's say you're on the new T-Mobile plans. You've heard about these new One plans. Mm-hmm. It's basically unlimited 4G LTE. Yeah, they're going to get you 28 gig. They reserve the right to throttle you. But it's basically unlimited data, and it gives you an unlimited hotspot. What's in the fine print, though, is that unlimited hotspot is not 4G LTE. It's 3G. Oh. See what I'm saying now? Yeah. You go on the older T-Mobile plans, which are still available. They don't have them on their site. They don't advertise them. This is why people should deal with independent mobile brokers like myself instead of the carrier. You know, we may get paid a little more to offer the new stuff, but the reality is the older plans are better for most people. One of the benefits of these old plans is they give you the full speed HD, the 4G LTE high def 1080p, not 480p on these new plans. So what I'm getting at is all hotspots are not the same. So your speeds can be different. The other thing is some carriers bundle in, like with Verizon, for example, you go on a 30 gig plan, you can use that 30 gigs any way you want. You want to use an iPad with it, that's $10. You want to use a smartphone with it, that's $20. You want to use hotspot, that's fine. You know, it's included. So hotspot is handled differently with different providers. Obviously, if you know, most people want the full speed. Why be slow if you don't have to?
Oh, yeah, that's for sure.
So these are the things that differ between the carriers. Everybody's throttling now. That's one thing the other carriers used to bag on T-Mobile for. Excuse me. Now they all do it. So, and this is why it can get a little confusing when you're comparing these plans. And this is why I always ask people, well, do you have an iPad? Do you plan on using an iPad? Do you have a hotspot? Do you want to get other computers online? Are you gaming? Are you watching Netflix? It matters.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Goodness.
You know what? That same thing happened to me. I no sooner started my show and I got this tickle in my throat and I'm fighting it, right? I'm trying to fight it, and eventually you just can't fight it anymore. You have got to clear your throat or you got to cough.
Yeah, or you have a sip of coffee.
Yeah, or something a little more potent, you know, that shuts down that little tickle.
There you go. I know we're going to run out of time because we always do, so I'm going to go ahead and give my contact info.
All right.
And then if we have time, we'll come back. But everything we're talking about today is going to be found on our Facebook page, Facebook.com/DR Wireless. We also have all this content on our website, www.drwireless.com. And anybody who has any questions can contact me personally, Joel@drwireless.com. Have you heard that the mobile web browsing now has taken over desktop web browsing for the first time in history?
No, I hadn't heard that. But you know what? I believe it because, you know, gosh, I even almost hate to admit it. You know, almost all of the research and all of the things I look up, I'm not sitting around my desktop and I don't have an iPad in my hand. I've got my phone in my hand and I'm either in a restaurant or I'm in a building or I'm someplace and I'm looking stuff up all the time on my phone.
Well, that's why it's more important than ever now and, you know, we do business development and, you know, some basic websites and help businesses market. Mm-hmm. It's really important now to make something that's mobile friendly. as far as your websites go, because Google favors, mobile-friendly websites, for their search results.
Yeah.
And, if you've ever looked at a desktop and then at a cell phone, same website, lots of times the content, you're missing content or it looks out of whack.
Yeah, matter of fact, sometimes it'll ask you in the bottom of the mobile website, it'll ask you if you want to see the full website. And so you kind of know what's going on there. Anyway, we got to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to be with our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman, with some more fascinating information that you just cannot live without. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:22 p.m. Pacific time. Hey, it's going down. It's 80 degrees now instead of 81 in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 56 degrees. And if you're listening to us in our globally syndicated network and you're in Madrid, Spain, it's 59 degrees and it's clear. And if you're in Tokyo, Japan, you're lucky. It is 49 degrees. It's getting chilly. But you know what? Never any coolness around our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. Joel, you got the microphone, my friend.
Like that segue, Robert. Pretty cool.
I try.
Anyhow, going back to unlimited data. We were talking about that a few minutes ago. And yes, there is no truly unlimited 4G LTE plan that gives you as much unlimited 4G as you want to use. Although each plan differs. And I did an article recently, which I actually published on our website. Anybody who wants to see it, it's under www.drwireless.com. And then under activations and upgrades, you'll see unlimited data plans. And before I go there, I just want to mention a lot of people assume that to deal with somebody, like me, who's got 25 years of experience in the wireless industry, obviously must cost more than dealing with some high school kid who's been doing this for 2 weeks in a carrier store. And that's the furthest thing from the truth. It does not cost any more to deal with Dr. Wireless. In fact, there's lots of benefits. I can save people that annoying trip to the store because we take all this information over the phone. I have the carrier of choice send the device directly to the user's home or to their office. They call me when they get it. I can do seamless carrier transfers from one carrier to another. I can move contact. I can contact info, all kinds of stuff. So it doesn't cost any more to deal with people who know what they're doing, and we make it an enjoyable experience.
So let me ask
that being said,
let me ask you a few questions based on that, because you know what? It's very seldom that you get access to somebody with the honesty, integrity as Dr. Wireless has. And so when somebody does order a plan from you and a phone from you, I'm guessing that if they really need it, they can get it overnight if they had to. But if they do that, Joel, how do you help them get all this stuff downloaded on their phone? Do you have access remotely to it in some way?
That's a great question, and here's your answer to that. I have the resources and the expertise and the business partnerships with all the carriers. The carriers know which government accounts and which universities and hospitals and Fortune 500 companies we represent. We bring some big, powerful users to their table, so they give us great support. So what we do is this. Anybody who deals with Dr. Wireless has an option. If you go to the store and you buy a phone from a carrier store, you can, call the carrier store. Maybe the sales kid gave you his card, or you call an 800 number, some faceless entity, and you talk about your issue. The benefit of dealing with us is you can do the same thing. You can go into any store. You can call any of the 800 numbers for the carriers, but you can also call us. And oftentimes we can solve issues over the phone based on our experience. As far as moving content, we have a number of ways of doing that. Obviously, everybody knows with iCloud that if you have an iPhone and you store everything in the cloud, then once you put your username and password into your new device, everything moves over. And I don't mean just your contacts in your calendar, your ringtones, your lock screen, your screensavers, your apps. Everything moves over seamlessly from the cloud. That's one way of doing it. You can do it from iTunes. You can do it with Google. You can do it a number of ways. And the other thing we do for people that are, I call it technologically challenged.
Are you talking about me now, Dr. Wireless?
I'm talking about people that when you tell them to hit the pound sign, they go, "What's that?" You got to say it's the tic-tac-toe board. So, and I do get people like that, and I got more patience than you can imagine, because one of the things we do is senior smartphone tutorials. I talk to people 80, 90 years old and teach them how to use, new iPhones, and it's brand new to them, and I have to assume they know nothing.
Yeah.
When I instruct them. But the whole beauty of this is when all else fails, I can send my clients into any carrier store. The carrier stores are more than happy to help these folks. If it's a matter of moving content, they'll do it. So we have lots of different options. But the bottom line is, isn't it easier shopping from your sofa
Oh, yeah.
You call me up. I have the device shipped to you. There's no waiting in line, and at these stores. I mean, you pick up the phone, talk to somebody who tells you what's going to work best, and you take out the guesswork. Some of these carriers have some sharp people, and some of them are real dummies. You'd be surprised what I hear.
Well, you know what? I can tell you what happened to me. Well, not recently, but I think I mentioned it to you here some time ago. I was having real problems with my phone because of the password and the sign-in name, and what had happened was I had retired, and my email address that I got on my iPhone was no longer valid anymore, right? And so I had forgotten my password, but they couldn't send me a new password because they kept trying to send it to an email address that didn't exist anymore. It took me 5 hours at the Apple Store to get that resolved. Because the guy at the store just connected me to some guy off-site by phone. Now I got the phone in my hand, and I'm trying to do the things he's telling me and talk to him on the same phone at the same time, which meant that I had to put the doggone phone on speaker, but it was so noisy in the App Store, you couldn't hear a word that the guy was saying. There's got to be an easier way.
Well, there is. And, in any other business, if we're talking doctors, if you needed brain surgery and you wanted to go to one of the foremost specialists at Johns Hopkins University or any of these other, leading Mayo Clinic, you're going to pay huge, huge, huge bucks because you're paying for their experience. Yeah. In the wireless industry, it doesn't work that way. They've never been able to monetize it, or I've never been able to. Mm-hmm. So, the people who do discover us are very, very pleased because we make sure that they make all of the right decisions. We keep the carriers honest. We know all the tricks. I've activated thousands of lines with all the carriers. Believe me, I know them better than I know my wife.
Oh, don't say anything that's going to get you in trouble if she's listening here, Joel.
She's not here, and I don't think she's listening, so we're all right with that. She never listens to me.
So what does a guy do? Let's say you've got an Android or you've got an iPhone or whatever you might have, but now you're getting a new one, but you want to give your old one to someone who just maybe a friend of yours who can't afford that kind of stuff, but you don't want them to have all your stuff. How does he change all of this stuff that like the iPhone's got locked into the thing?
It's called a device wipe. It's very simple. It can be done with any iPhone. It can be done with any Android. Anybody who's ever traded in a phone, all the carriers have trade-in programs, and the first thing that they request you do is to go under your iCloud and turn off Find My Phone, because if that is on, they can't reuse the phone. So the first thing you want to do is turn that off. The second thing you want to do is a complete device wipe. You want to wipe all the content, and you want to set the thing back to factory default so it says hola. When if it's an iPhone, mm-hmm. You get the 20 different languages, and you start from scratch. So that's easy. Here's one of the reasons that it's so important these days to deal with people who know what they're doing. What's happened is this. The industry has changed to the point where not only when I first started, you couldn't move your number from one carrier to another. It was impossible. They wouldn't allow it. Well, now we have porting, so it's easy to move your number from one carrier to another. That's a piece of cake. What you couldn't do up until recently was also move your current device from one carrier to another. Now, 90% of the time, it's possible. I'm working with a guy right now who's with AT&T. He's got 6 lines, and he is going to either be on Verizon or T-Mobile tomorrow. He hasn't decided, and I haven't decided which, but both of which blow the doors off his AT&T plan. And the beauty of it is, and he doesn't know it yet, but I can just give him new SIM cards. He can pop them in his old phone. Nothing is stored on the SIM card anymore like in the old days. You remember in the old days with the feature phones?
Oh, yeah.
Where you had all of your contacts on the SIM card, and you had to copy the SIM card to the new SIM card if you were switching SIMs?
Yep.
Well, now you don't need to do that. There's nothing on the SIM card. Everything is in the cloud. So it's real easy to move somebody from one carrier to another, and not only do they keep the same device, not only do they keep the same mobile number, the only thing that changes is the name on that check. If they're still writing the check, most of these companies have auto pay where you can have them debit you automatically. I always recommended against that, but now it's safe because there's no chance of data overage or surprise charges with these new plans. So it's really easy to move from one carrier to another. All the carriers are buying each other out. So, with these month-to-month plans, it's a consumer's market right now, but the consumer needs to know this stuff. The carrier isn't going to tell you.
So Joel, because you're on every week, and every week you tell us about all these magnificent deals and all these changes, and it seems like the wireless news is just never ending. Everybody's got something new and exciting and that's going on. I'm guessing that you really don't want to get into any long-term contracts or anything. You want to go month to month with everybody because every month something changes dramatically.
Well, I mean, like I said, there is no really such thing as a contract anymore. And yes, I still offer them with Sprint. I still offer them with Verizon. And there are still some benefits, especially with Sprint. But there's still, with Verizon, what they do is they make us charge an extra. For example, on a Verizon plan, they sell you a data plan with, let's say, 20 gigabytes. That doesn't include anything but data. You want to use a smartphone with that data plan? It's $20 per smartphone. And you're not buying a smartphone. You're just getting the right to use your smartphone. That's if you're providing it. If you need one, bill zero interest, allow us to finance you one. So point being, for each smartphone on the Verizon network, if it's a zero interest financing deal, it's $20 per line. If you want a 2-year contract, it's $40 per line.
Wow.
The difference is on the 2-year contract, what's happening is they're going to give you a $450 instant credit. So if you're buying a $650 phone, you got two options. You can pay $27.09 over 24 months and go on the month-to-month deal, and they're going to charge you $20 for the smartphone service. Or you pay $40 for the smartphone service. They're going to give you the $650 phone for $199. So it's at the end of the day, it's pretty close. Some people prefer that contract model. Some people don't. The beauty of if you're under contract is everybody's willing to buy you out. So you're not stuck.
Yeah.
If let's say you're under AT&T under a contract, I can move you to Verizon, T-Mobile, or Sprint tomorrow, and all three of those companies will buy out whatever you owe AT&T. And let's say you're under contract, AT&T comes out with a better deal. The beauty of being under contract is traditionally you get grandfathered.
Yeah.
That doesn't always happen. Sometimes, they take that away. But generally, if you're on a plan and you've run out of the contract, it was a contract plan, they give you the contract deal. They're not going to tell you. In the old days, AT&T used to really piss people off because what they do is they offered free nights and weekends for the first year of a 2-year contract, or let's say for the whole contract. But what would happen is once you finish the contract, your bill went up $60-$80, and you would look at the bill and just turn red and be angry, and you'd call them up and say, "Hey, what the hell's going on? You're charging me $60 more than I ever paid." And they would say graciously, "Oh, Mr. Cardoza, the problem is your contract is finished and you're no longer getting free nights and weekends. If you re-sign for another 2-year contract, we'll eat that $60 charge." So what would happen is you'd get your bill on a Friday night and be pissed all Friday, all Saturday, all Sunday, and then Monday you'd call them and they'd tell you this and think, "Oh, it's no big deal." But it is a big deal. You're angering your customers.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's one of the reasons I recommended never going on these auto pay programs, because it's real hard to get your money back when they pull it without your authorization and overcharged you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my friend, give out that contact information one more time because I can't believe it, but we're already out of time.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yes, sir.
Again, everything we talked about, www.drwireless.com. It's also on our Facebook page, Facebook.com/DR Wireless. Please give us a like when you visit. And anybody who wants a personal consultation to make sure they're doing the right stuff, complimentary, Joel at drwireless.com.
Hey, my friend, thanks again. This. I don't know if this is what you had planned to talk about. Sometimes I get long-winded. Actually, most of the time I get long-winded. Anyway, I just love talking to you on Wednesdays. It's just the technology is fascinating.
It's always fun stuff, and one of these days we're going to move you off AT&T. I know it's going to happen.
They just lowered my bill by $100.
Of course they did. They know you're talking to me.
Yeah, they probably do. Hey, Joel, have a great week the rest of the week. You know what's good? It's a little warmer today. You might want to just go out there. Well, actually, where you're at, it's kind of nice. You might want to get your feet wet.
I think I'll do that.
All right, my friend.
Weekend.
Stay safe, stay happy. The rest of you folks, stick around, because when we come back, we're going to be doing the birthdays for the day, the daily teaching for your life, the Harvard business tip of the day, and then interesting but useless facts. And then after that, we're going to do our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey in the rest of the story. We're going to be doing today, Excuses. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We've got a barnyard going on out there. But right now, I want you to know that at 4:42 p.m. Pacific time, it's down to 80 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California, going down to 56 degrees. And if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in Sydney, Australia, well, it's 70 degrees and it's scattered clouds. And if you're in Auckland, New Zealand, it's 64 degrees and also scattered clouds. And if you're in either one of those places, they're both beautiful places. Been there, I loved it. It was just absolutely magnificent. But, right now it's time for us to give you the Harvard business tip of the day. And the management tip today is get what you need from an MOOC. Well, what the heck is that? Well, to get the most from an MOOC, that's a massive open online course. You don't have to invest hours and hours of your time. There are generally 3 ways to learn what you need. Go for the certification. This means completing all the coursework and sometimes paying a fee. Certification is helpful if you're brand new to a topic because the extra effort is complete. The assignments will ensure that you actually learn what you hope to. It's a smart investment if you need to prove to a current or potential employer that you have certain skills. And then audit. Another option is to watch the videos but not complete the assignments. You don't get a certificate, but you can learn at your own pace. Now, it's the right way to go if you're looking to brush up on a topic and don't have several hours a week to commit to the workload. And then, sample. Now, this means watching a video here or there to get the specific knowledge that you need. For example, say you wanted to do some regression modeling in Excel, or instead of watching a full course, you might look for a single lesson in a broader statistics course. That's how these things work. So that's really what you want to be doing. And that's good advice no matter what you're doing, whether it's in business or personal life, any of those things. Now, let's talk about the positive mental attitude of the secret daily teaching for your life. Yeah, this is the lifestyle tip of the day. You know what? You decide if you're going to be happy, sad, you're going to be, rich or poor, if you're going to be a success or a failure. You do it every morning when you get up, you look in the mirror, you say, wow, I'm going to have a great day. I feel great. I'm happy. I'm going to make it profitable. I'm going to make it productive. And everybody around me is going to love it. Yeah, you decide that. Nobody else does. Only you. Well, you know what the teaching for today is? Do not listen to society's message about diseases and aging. Negative messages do not serve you. That's true. Just don't pay any doggone attention to it. It's just not in your best interests. Now, you know what today is. Sure you do. Everybody knows what today is. Today, let's wait a minute. What's going on here? Let's try this again. There we go. Today is Wednesday, November the 2nd, and it is somebody's birthday. Yes, sir. And here's a person, singer, songwriter who won both Juno Awards and Grammy Awards for her musical performances. She's also known for being a vegetarian, an animal rights advocate, and openly lesbian. Happy birthday, Katie Lang. Yes, sir. And here's somebody that most of you know what? You may or may not know his name, but you'll know the things he's been in. He was born in 1966, an actor with his breakthrough role as Ross Geller in NBC situation comedy Friends. Happy birthday, David Schwimmer. And then finally, born in 1974, rapper, singer, actor, and entrepreneur, Nelly. Yes, sir. Well, what do you suppose happened today in history? Well, I'm about to tell you, so don't worry about it. Sit down and just listen. On November the 2nd, 1895, the very first gasoline-powered race in the United States. The first prize, $2,000. That was a big deal, by the way, in 1895. How about today in 1898? Cheerleading is started at the University of Minnesota with Johnny Campbell leading the crowd and cheering on the football team. And then finally, on November 2nd, in 1960, Penguin Books is found not guilty of obscenity in the Lady Chatterley's Lover case. Yeah. Well, you know what? The quote for today is from Anonymous. And Anonymous says, he deserves paradise who makes his companions laugh. That's probably true, if you think about it. Now, we've got a few extra minutes. Let's do those interesting but useless facts. They're fun. Did you know that on June the 26th, 1945, the Charter of the United Nations was signed by 50 countries in San Francisco? The text of the charter was in 5 languages: Chinese, English, French, Russian, and Spanish. That's kind of, it's interesting. I didn't realize that it was just in 1945. It does probably seems like a long time ago to you, 70 years, or 71 years, but it doesn't seem all that long to me. Did you know that your brain uses between 20 and 25% of the oxygen that you breathe? Now that's interesting. Yeah. You don't want to, that's really interesting, and it's important. How about this one? In York, Pennsylvania, you cannot sit down while watering your lawn with a hose. You know why? It's illegal. It's against the law. Did you know that there is no such thing as a naturally blue food? Give that some thought. How about this? Did you know that larger stingrays have the power to drive their stingers or tail spines through the hulls of wooden boats? Wow. That's something. They're not saying how big a wooden boat, but that's still something. How about this one? The number of insect species is believed to be between 6 and 10 million. Yeah. So you're thinking about Noah's Ark? You'd have thought he could have swatted the mosquitoes, right? Well, did you know that in the Return of the Jedi special edition, during the new Coruscant footage at the end of the film, a stormtrooper can be seen being carried over the crowds? Is that interesting? Is it important? Do you care? Oh, I don't care. How about this? In Corpus Christi, Texas, raising alligators in your home is against the law. God, I would hope so. Well, Benjamin Franklin was one of the first people to manufacture playing cards in America. Man, that man did a lot of things. Can you imagine? Here's one for you. Did you know that the D.C. in Washington, D.C. stands for District of Columbia? I think everybody knows that. I'm surprised that they don't. Well, you know what? I've seen some interviews, some college students, and some of the things they know or don't know, I find shocking. Here's one for you. Let me just leave you with this one. A man named Ed Peterson is the inventor of the Egg McMuffin. Ed Peterson, and that is going to take care of it for now. So we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to do the tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey, and the rest of the story we're going to talk about excuses. So don't go away. We'll be right back after these brief messages.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And it's time for our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. You know, the American Broadcasting Company calls him the biggest voice in America. He's Paul Harvey, and each week millions of listeners, viewers, and readers await his unraveling of the mysteries of events and lives of people past and present. He's heard, or was heard, on over 1,400 radio stations, seen on 110 television stations, and read in 300 newspapers. The rest of the story has for years been exploring the byways of history with revelations that are intriguing, amusing, and surprising. Today's story, excuses. You know, Mrs. Paul is the choir director for the West Side Baptist Church in Beatrice, Nebraska. Her daughter, Marilyn, is the church pianist. Neither has been late for choir practice. To the contrary, both are in the habit of arriving 15 minutes early. It's early evening, March 1st, 1950, 7 o'clock. Choir practice begins at 7:30. Mrs. Paul calls to her daughter upstairs. They should be leaving now. It's almost time. No answer. Mrs. Paul returns to her last-minute preparation, and the minutes are ticking away. It is 7:15 p.m. when she realizes her daughter is asleep. So Mrs. Paul goes upstairs, awakens her daughter. There is time only to tidy up and start out. This will be the first time either Mrs. Paul or her daughter, Marilyn, has ever been late for choir practice. Their perfect attendance record is broken. But you know what? There are 18 members in the West Side Baptist Choir, church choir, and each and every one that very same night is also late for practice. All 18 have perfectly valid excuses, and all are late. You've heard the excuse of Mrs. Paul, the choir director. Her daughter Marilyn, the church pianist, had fallen asleep after dinner and did not awaken in time. But the others had excuses too. LaDonna Vandegrift, a high school sophomore, was having trouble with her homework. Like Mrs. Paul and her daughter, Mrs. Vandegrift knew practice began promptly, and she always came early, but this evening, she was detained by a particularly baffling geometry problem. Riona Estes and her sister Sadie were ready to leave their house on time, but their car wouldn't start, so the two sisters called Mrs. Vandegrift and asked her to pick them up. Mrs. Vandegrift was working on her geometry, remember? And the Estes sisters had to wait. Ordinarily, Mrs. Schuster was 10 minutes early for choir practice. The night of March 1st, she was detained at her mother's house. The two were preparing for a later missionary meeting. Herb Tiff was in his own home. Would have been early, too, but there was this important letter he had to write. He had been putting it off for some time. The time got away from him. Excuses, excuses. Joyce Black would probably have been early. She would have been on time, though. It was just so cold out that evening. She wanted to stay in the house until the last possible minute, so she was late. Harvey All would have been on time, but his wife was out of town. That left him in charge of the two young sons. A friend had invited Harvey and the two boys out for dinner. A pleasant conversation carried them away, and Harvey was late. Lucille Jones and Dorothy Wood were high school girls, lived next door to each other. Lucille was listening to a half-hour radio program that began at 7 o'clock. She just had to hear how it ended. Dorothy waited for her. Pastor Kimple and his wife were always on time for their practice. Not the evening of March 1st, however. Pastor Kimple's wristwatch, the accuracy of which he was always proud, that night, 5 minutes slow. The remaining choir members had equally valid excuses for their tardiness. Excuses, 18 in all. Never before nor since had each and every choir member of the Westside Baptist Church been late for choir practice on the same evening. That was Wednesday, March the 1st, 1950. Choir practice scheduled as usual for 7:30 p.m. No one showed up at 7:30. That is the rest of the story. 7:30 p.m. was the time when a natural gas leak surfacing in the basement of the Westside Baptist Church was ignited by the furnace. The church blew up, was demolished. The old furnace of the Westside Baptist Church was directly below the choir loft, the empty choir loft. And now you know the rest of the story. Well, don't miss my show tomorrow. I enjoy the company of my guest host, Sean LaFave, and Sean will be here in the studio contributing to the full 2-hour show. I continue to tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. Tomorrow's story is going to be You Can't Come Inside. You know what? Please tell your friends about our show here at the RLC Broadcasting Network. They'll be glad you did. You'll be glad you did. And you know what? I absolutely will be glad you did.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.